am so frustrated with my feeding tube. It was a nice evening stroll. We just walked off the stress, me and my pooch. On our adventure.
Ah, yeah, freezing cold here.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. So I slept great again, and I'm so thankful I'm having less pain, and I have so many blessings in my life, but my feeding tube is still giving me issues, and I'm just so over it. I am so frustrated with my feeding tube. It's working. It's running feeds, but you know, I know my tube and it's not flushing well. I have to use quite a bit of force to flush it. It's flushing, but it's just progressively been getting more and more resistant, and I have to use a lot of force to get it to go. And it, like I said, it's just been slowly getting more and more resistant, and I think it's going to kink again. We know it's going to kink again. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and I just want it to work. But, you know, at least right now, it is running feeds and it is flushing. It's just an obvious sign that something's wrong with it. For those of y'all who are new, the issue is that because I'm petite and just because of my internal anatomy, there was only one location my GI could put the stoma into my stomach, the hole into my stomach where the feeding tube goes. And where that stoma is, the jejunal tubing, which goes from my stomach into my small intestine, has to do this U-turn, and because of that it kinks, but there's no other place to put a stoma in my stomach. So the other option is to put a stoma directly into my small intestine. And I'd have two feeding tubes, the one in my stomach to vent trapped air and build up stomach acid, which helps a lot with symptom management, and then the one straight into my jejunum to run nutrition. But there's just a lot to think about because it's a big decision. I talk about it more in my feeding tube playlist if you want to look over those videos, but on Monday is when I see the surgeon for the surgeon consult, and then after that appointment I see my GI again, so I'm hoping that day I'll be able to make a confident decision whether to separate my feeding tube or to keep this one, which keeps malfunctioning on me, so we'll see. I am about to hook up to my infusion and then I'm going to reconnect to my feeds, but I thought I'd answer some questions I've been receiving about my feeding tube. I have top of the line anti-kink technology in this tube. I do not understand how there's nothing better on the market, but there's not. Also, I've been asked why I didn't just get a straight J in the first place. We discussed that possibility, but when I initially got the tube placed, I was so malnourished and I was in such a dangerous physical state, my body could not handle that surgery. Getting a straight J is a little more extensive than getting the type of stoma and tube I have now. So that's why we did this one. And it's kind of a good thing we did this one because it allows me to vent my stomach, which has helped a lot with symptom management. I'm not puking nearly as much as I was before the tube. And that's because I can vent my stomach. I wouldn't be able to do that if we had only done a straight J. But now we have the kinking issue, so that's why we're doing the surgeon consult to see if there's any way to save this tube or if the best option is to separate it and have two separate feeding tubes. But I'll know more on Monday. I talked with my GI, and even though the tube is being finicky right now, since it's working, we don't want to rush to replace it, but he's gonna look into it more on Monday when I see him. It is causing me a ton of stress. A ton of stress. I desperately rely on my feeding tube for symptom management and nutrition. I get really bad when I can't use my feeding tube. I lose a lot of weight, I feel terrible, and I backtrack, and I just want a more reliable solution to help me with my gastroparesis. So I'm really praying on Monday I'll be able to make a confident decision. Anyways, let's do this now. Infusing and running feeds. You know, I like Judd's saying of, if you can't change your situation, change your attitude. For me, right now, that would mean I can't control when or if my feeding tube is going to kink again, so there's no point to stressing about it. But in all honesty, it's easier said than done. Of course, it's stressful and it's a tricky situation, but I'm going to do my best because the whole feeding tube issue, that's a situation to tackle on Monday when I have the appointments to determine what we're going to do. So right now I'm going to try and have peace with it. You know, right now the feeding tube is at least functioning, and I'm gonna focus on what's happening now, which is IVIG. I have my IVIG infusion tomorrow, so I'm gonna focus on tackling that. That's why I'm infusing, because I do 2 liters of fluids the day before and the day after. We're just gonna take it one day at a time. Okay, I was unpacking my infusion delivery, which I get every week, and I had taken my necklace off just because it was bothering me, and then I accidentally stepped on the button and it sounded the alarm, but that's okay. I had to test it anyways. They want me to purposely press it once a month to test it, so I was just like, sorry, you know what, I didn't mean to press it, but this can be my test for the month. They were like, okay, no worries. That was funny. A few of y'all were asking me about this. It's not always on me because when Judd is here, I don't wear it. I don't need to wear it when someone's in the house. Sometimes I just forget, but don't worry about it, y'all. It's usually very near me, within reach. I just don't like it around my neck sometimes, but I'm gonna find a better necklace thing to use than the string. I think the string is what's bothering me, but hopefully I won't step on it again. At least we know it works, right? From all the way up here, that's awesome. Hippo, this is so strange, right? Okay, so I crossed out my personal info so I could show y'all, but this is what my infusion bags usually look like, you know, with like this ending and everything, but they gave me these. So this is my sodium, my sodium chloride, my normal saline. Look at the ending. That's so weird. This is the med port, I guess, and this is where I spike the bag. And then this is my lactated ringers. I mean, it's the same thing, it's just in a different bag. It looks so peculiar to me. I think I'm gonna have to call the pharmacist and just verify. Like, I'm pretty sure I know how to spike it, I just wanna make sure I do it properly. And I guess that's the med port to inject the vitamin vials from my banana bag. How strange! They look so unique. I mean, same exact thing. This is normal saline, that's normal saline, it's just a different bag. Okay, y'all, so truth time. Truth is, even though I'm doing my best not to worry about it, I am stressed about my feeding tube. So I've decided I gotta do something fun, something to get my mind off of it. And usually I would cook a unique meal because I love cooking, but I wanted to do something different. So Harlow and I are going on a night stroll through the neighborhood thanks to my new smart drive and my wheelchair. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're both gonna enjoy it. Well, we are strolling around the neighborhood. I've got the lights on because it's dark out, and I feel very safe in my neighborhood, so I don't mind coming out at night. We're just gonna go around the block, and Harlow is at a nice trot when I'm at full speed, and she's got the long leash extended so she can, when we do walks like this, Harlow doesn't have to be in a tight heel as if she was working out in public, but she doesn't pull on the leash. She's just at a loose leash walk, and she can smell, and right now she's smelling the grass. Did you like that, Harlow? You look like you got a good amount of exercise. At full speed, Harlow's going at like a trot next to me, so that was good. It was a nice evening stroll. We just walked off the stress, me and my pooch. I tried to take some videos while I was wheeling, but I cannot do that and take a video. I am not skilled enough to do that yet without crashing. But I mostly stayed on the sidewalks, but I had to cross the street once, and this car was letting me go. And then as I was crossing in front of him, he rolled down the window and said, "I love the lights on your wheelchair." I was like, "Thank you." It was sweet. And you did so good. So yeah, she doesn't have to be in a tight heel when we do strolls like that. She can just loose leash walk, and she smelled a lot. She smelled where the ducks usually sit during the day, and we both had a good time. Thanks for going with me, Har. It was really good. Well, I've made it into bed, and Harlow has claimed this spot and has claimed this pillow as her own. But you're gonna have to move when Judd gets home, Missy. Today was a pretty great day. I mean, there were some frustrations, but I'm still thankful because my pain is incredibly well controlled. I had a really fun evening stroll with Harlow. We're gonna be doing more of those walks now. I think she really enjoyed it, and I did too. And I learned tonight that my dad and my godfather might be coming to visit me on Sunday, which would be really awesome. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that tomorrow is IVIG, and Judd's a cop, so he works 12-hour shifts. He goes to work in the afternoon and comes home around 3 or 4 in the morning, so obviously taking me to my infusion at 9 a.m. would not really work with his sleep schedule. So we had arranged for Amber, which is our friend and a nurse we hire as needed, to take me to the infusion center, drop me off, and then Judd would wake up after a good night's sleep and come pick me up, because the infusion takes like 5 hours. But Amber told me today that she's really, really sick and can't take me, which understandable. I hope she feels better. But I asked Judd if, like, I hate when I mess up his sleep schedule because of things that he has to do for me, but he said it's okay and I really shouldn't reschedule it because we've already had to reschedule this infusion. And he's right. It was supposed to happen on Thanksgiving, but it's Thanksgiving and we were out of town, so we had to push it back. And then I had to push back the infusion again because my feeding tube kinked and I had to replace it. And IVIG is supposed to be done on a really strict schedule. I'm supposed to get it exactly every 3 weeks, so it's not good that we pushed it back. But with life events and just the trickiness of getting to the infusion center, we've had to. So Judd's gonna be a trooper and take me tomorrow. I love him so much for the sacrifices he makes for me, and we're gonna treat him to all the Chipotle he wants. But honestly, getting to the infusion center and keeping with my IVIG schedule is kind of not practical. So I was gonna ask my doctor once we get to my gold dosage, and if I'm still tolerating it fine, like I am now, I'm not having any dangerous side effects, if he'd be comfortable moving it back to home health. But that's a conversation for another day, just something to think about. Anyways, another great day, and tomorrow we're gonna conquer IVIG. I believe this is round 5, yes. And with that, with Harlow looking adorable, I will say goodnight, and thanks for joining us on our adventure.